from Pop Turn is speaking to Vanessa Chester about the Invisible Raptor. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. Your energy is incredible and infectious, and I'm so excited that this is what I'm doing with my Friday.
I'm really excited to chat with you. I mean, I can't even imagine reading the script for this film for the first time. Like, what's that like just reading it for the first time? Like that first read through?
I'm so glad you asked because I read it and I was like, this is so unhinged, so crazy, intentional and genius, and I have to be a part of it. And then when I actually went to the table read and, everyone started bringing the characters to life, I knew from that moment, I was like, this is incredibly special.
Yeah. And it's got like the, creature feature component. It's got the horror movie. It's funny. What's it like, that script to screen journey for you, reading that kind of genre bending component in the script and then seeing it kind of come to life on screen? Because I find that really interesting as well.
Well, for me, I totally, it's very interesting, but it's also like fascinating because I'm starting to realize the more projects that I do, like there are so many different components and different people who specialize in areas that I would never understand to bring a script, just like literal ink on a paper to the screen in a way that entertains us. And I'm just like, how do you guys all do it? But it's like, it's a team effort at the end of the day to make it this great,
Have you thought about the fact that you're probably on this really small list, maybe one of the only storytellers to kind of encounter dinosaurs you can see and dinosaurs you can't see? Have you thought about that at all?
No, but guess what? I probably won't stop thinking about it after this moment because it didn't even cross my mind. Like that's a very niche category to be in. Like I have experience with dinosaurs and dinosaurs you can't see. Thank you so much. I'm gonna add that. That's my new Instagram bio. Thank you.
No, it's so much fun. I just love the fact that this movie, The Invisible Raptor, Vanessa, is one of those films where this is what it's all about. You just dial in, get your popcorn, and you just have a good time. Is that kind of the projects that you kind of like look for right now in your kind of storytelling career? The ones that just like you read it, oh, this is a good time, I want to be part of it, like you said in the beginning. But it's like that's what it's all about. It's like escapism, if you think about it.
Well, to this specific movie, I think that it's so timely right now. Like we kind of need something that's just purely entertainment, a little bit nostalgic, and just like a good hour and a half to 2 hours of just laughing and being like, that wasn't deep, but it was intentional. And there were so many moments and I needed that. In terms of like choosing projects, I've noticed that the best totem for me is when I get really excited. Like the little child in me is like, oh, it's time to play dress up and like imagine, like it's time to make believe. And so when I check in with myself and I can just feel like the synapse is going off, like, what should I wear? How would I do this? And I'm already I've already dialed in and I'm not even on set. I'm like, this is a good sign that this is a project I should do. And when Johnny Wickman reached out to me, he was so kind and so humble. And he was just like, hey, this is like a really tiny part, but you would die in it. And I was like, wait, I've never died on camera. I have to do this.
Was that how the conversation went? Like, was that the second day? This is a great part. You're gonna die. Is that?
And everyone thinks I'm so wild.
That's so good.
And here's the thing is like, and that's what I think it is. Like, that's like we're all kids at heart. We're all like, creative and want to have fun. And so I was like, I've never done special effects in this light. I've never had to stretch and like be offed, it's just like the idea of it being different in this world. And especially kind of like a little nod to Kelly Malcolm. I was like, this just seems too perfect.
Oh my goodness. It's so crazy to me too, that like, you look at something like this, like, I feel like the answer to this question is you try not to, but given what I kind of said about the kind of popcorn worthy, really fun thriller horror comedy that this movie is, were you ever conscious of the audience member watching this film while you were making it at all? Or does that kind of happen a little bit after you wrap and you're kind of done with it, so to speak?
No, it's interesting because I wasn't thinking about the way that it would be received. Like, it's so funny because I've been telling Johnny and Mike, I'm like, this is a cult classic in the making. Like there is nothing
100%.
like You know what? I've told them that for years. I'm like, there is no doubt in my mind because you can tell that there was so much thought and intention and just all the Easter eggs. Like, I'm like, you guys made an incredible movie to just enjoy and relax. And
Mhm.
so I think that going into it, just like honoring that premise, that was all that I was focused on. But at the actual premiere, like I was just staring at my brother because I was like, is he gonna laugh? Is he gonna like this? And he's a very harsh critic and he was dying. And I was like, we did it. We did it. We did it.
I know it's so crazy, and it's funny too because there could be more movies. There could be the Invisible Raptor 2. There could be the Invisible T-Rex. I mean, you're kind of bummed that I'm saying this right now because you did say that you die in this movie, but flashbacks is I guess, right? Or like you
Oh,
never
I already
know.
talked to the when I saw the end and there was like the little like hint towards a
Oh yeah.
sequel, I was like, so how do I get in the sequel? And one of them was like, well, we didn't see you die. We just all started. And I was like, I mean, but it's if I survived, it's pretty incredible.
No, absolutely. I do have to ask you about Lost World Jurassic Park. I mean, it's kind of like I remember it's kind of crazy because that gymnastics kick has been in my head rent free for years, and I'm
Love
interviewing
that
you
for
on the
you.
show. Like it's kind of wild. I remember being in the theater watching that, getting out of the theater, being mom. That was really cool. And my sister was doing
And how did
gymnastics
you
at the
feel
time.
about it?
I thought it was the
Oh,
coolest thing
I also
ever.
did gymnastics. Okay, amazing. Because that I feel like that scene is a little what's it called? It's a little kind of contentious. Some people are like, that could never happen. It's like, but also remember we're dealing with dinosaurs.
And we're
Like those
dealing with
don't exist.
Jurassic Park, and it's a movie. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. No, because I remember recently, like watching, like I've watched that movie many times, even before I knew I was interviewing you. Like it's great, and I remember seeing like YouTube comments, like someone saying like your character is like one of the only characters in the whole franchise to actually like be a human killing a dinosaur in the film and all that, which is really cool. You have one of the most iconic photos on your Instagram ever of you and Steven Spielberg with the
Oh,
dinosaur.
yes.
That needs to be on t-shirts.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me like full body chills. I was like, what photo is he gonna talk about? But
No,
yeah, like
you know what I'm
it's a pretty
talking about.
special
So I just
photo.
wanted to know, like, we'll get back to Invisible Raptor, but like, what, like, I mean, you can't put words to describe it. I mean, you're part of one of the big, like, the best movie franchise of all time. Like, there's no words, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't know when it's gonna actually sink in. Like it's been decades, and I'm still like, I just feel overwhelming gratitude because
Yep.
I know how important that film is and the sequel is to all the Jurassic Park fans, and I know how important my role was to young Black girls growing up, and then like getting to work with Spielberg. Like
Yeah.
I still don't understand how that actually happened in my life. It's just like it's honestly a dream as an actor to know that I was able to say like I got to work with so many incredible people like Stan Winston. I was just talking about him the other day. Like that guy revolutionized cinema, and
Yeah.
knowing that I have met him and worked with him is just it's very incredible. I'm really grateful.
Is there a little kind of fun fact or misconception about your experience on that movie, like the making of it? Because I feel like movie making is so crazy and it always changes and everything. Is there something about making The Lost World that you could share with me right now that's like a real cool fun fact or something that maybe people don't know? It could definitely be something you've
Oh
said in
yeah.
other interviews, 100%, because I feel like you get
Oh,
this
oh,
question.
absolutely. But here's the thing. You know, they're all, it doesn't, I've said some of these so many times, and then sometimes I remember new things like at the end of The Lost World, when like we finally are like, okay, we're done with the dinosaurs. There's a scene where Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore and I are sitting on the sofa watching the news, basically recap all of the craziness that went down in San Diego. Do you remember that scene?
Of
Okay,
course. Yeah.
so before the scene starts out focused on the television, showing what the local news is doing. If you look closely in the reflection of the silhouettes, there are four people sitting on the couch. It's me, Jeff, Steven Spielberg, and Julianne. And then when you turn the camera, it's just the three of us on the couch. So they're like little Easter eggs, like the writer David Kep. You know the scene when they're in San Diego and that guy is getting chased by the T-Rex, runs to the Blockbuster door and just gets destroyed. That's David Kep. He's the writer of the movie. So there's like all these fun things where they like put themselves in it and just special effects.
And
And I'm
that's
like, what
kind of
else?
that's why I started Popternative, because my questions are very kind of craft based and everything, because there's a lot of like things you could say about plots and everything, but I always kind of walk on eggshells because I never want to give like much away, because even with the Invisible Raptor, like it's so like you said, there's like, it has such cult classic potential that you just kind of want to go in fresh and not know much about it. But I feel like it's like hearing things like that, like I get really curious because when I ask you about that gymnastics scene in, Lost World, I'm curious about the conversations and the like everything that kind of happened to to get to where we saw that on the big screen. You know what I mean by that? Like, that's the coolest thing in my opinion.
I mean, here's the thing. I wish that I could take far more credit for it, but I did not actually do the stunt. It was a stunt person, insurance. And the thing was, I was like, guys, I was like, I'm a gymnast. And they're like, you're not like her though. And I was like, I know. So basically all I got to do was jump down from the uneven bars, which I was
talking about that whole sequence, the chase and everything. There were some moments where it was you know what I mean? Like you were on camera.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And like, I think another one that you would enjoy is like, so, the scene when the T-Rex basically storms the camp.
Yes.
And Julianne and I are in the tent, and it pokes its head into the tent. So, as you know, the animatronics are large, they're heavy, and they can be dangerous. We had no issues, but anything can happen. And so, in the scene, we're in a tent, and the T-Rex, pokes his head in, and so their concern was if anything happens while you guys are laying down, it'll squash your body, right? We don't need that. That'll be a horrible ending to the movie. So what they did, and I remember coming to set and being like, and mind you, I'm 12, so I'm like, whoa, how do you guys think of these things? So what they did was they created a platform, and on top of the platform was the tent that you see with the sleeping bags and everything. They had fake bodies on the tent, or in the tent. And then Julianne and I would walk under the platform, stick our heads through a little slat, and then just lay our heads down. Whoa. So we're not even laying down. Yeah. So we're standing in that scene. We're completely standing on a platform with our head. Like, I remember being like, this is so cool because it's not, no one would ever think about that. That's something that you'd be like, oh, they're just laying down and they came in. But they were like, no, we have to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So we would step under the platform, lay down like we were sleeping, and we were standing the whole time. And I'm like, just that is so tiny, but it's so cool to me.
For sure. It's super cool too that people very soon are going to be able to do the Vanessa Chester dinosaur doubleheader where they can watch Invisible Raptor and Lost World, which is crazy to think about.
Is the Vanessa Chester Raptor night? I love that.
I know, absolutely. And then shout out very quickly, we have to wrap, but like Harriet the Spy, watched that movie 50,000 times when I was younger. Classic.
Amazing.
So good.
I love that.
Vanessa, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thank you so much. Your energy, like I said, is incredible. I would love to come back at any point.
Yes.
This is great. Yes, I will be back. I feel like we have more to talk about. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turn of youtube.com/PopTurn for previous episodes. Till next time, it's Vanessa Chester and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.